Hey everybody, Stuart here, I hope you're well. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get that sweet 70s soul sound in place. Here's the full track and then I'll break down all the licks for you slowly. To start getting this sound in place, you want to listen to some of the masters of the genre. We're talking about players like Cornell Dupree, Wah Wah Watson, Ray Parker Jr. Basically, these session guys that recorded on thousands of tracks from the 60s all the way through to the 80s and beyond. This first lick is really influenced by Cornell Dupree, and there's a couple of signature things that we're going to see. First off, note there are a couple of different major 7 voicings we're going to use here, from the F major 7 to the C major 7. So you want to have a good chord vocabulary in place. Secondly, check out the phrases that are used to link one chord to another. These guys were masters at using all these little licks based on thirds, fourths, and fifths. Just short phrases that added some color instead of going straight from one chord into the other. And finally, think about how they'd break a chord up as well. They'd play the lower half of the chord and then they'd stab on the upper half of the chord. For the stabs, you might want to use an upstroke to make those top strings pop out a bit more. In this next section, we'll see another set of licks used to connect one chord to another. In this case, we're on strings 1 and 2. We're higher up the neck. Notice how it's based around intervals of thirds and fourths again. These are primarily what we're using here. These small double stop lines that are just so melodic and take you from one chord to the next really smoothly. All these players within this 70s soul genre were absolute chord masters. A lot of them had come from a jazz background, so instead of just playing simple major and minor chords, they really knew how to get maximum color in whatever harmony they were playing. So for example, here we start off with not just a standard D minor chord, but a really nice sounding D minor 11. Check out the embellishment on the top string. This stuff is actually quite hard to play, so you can focus on just playing this chord by itself. We then move up through the scale from the D minor to the E minor to the F, and then finally check out this A7 augmented chord at the end. Just a slight dissonance before we take ourselves somewhere else. Again, it's all about chord vocabulary, it's all about color in the chords, and then it's all about these little fragments of melodic ideas that can take you seamlessly from one chord to the next. Commonly, these guys would have to play through sequences that repeated themselves twice or 4 or even more times. So they had loads of ideas that they could just use to make each time through the sequence that little bit different. It could be a chord played in a different inversion, or a slightly different version of the melodic lick. So through these next couple of phrases, check out how I move chords from the G up here to another inversion of the G shape up here. We have a melodic line which interlinks everything, but at the end of the sequences, I'm going to use some slight changes from time to time just to keep things more interesting for the listener and of course for you, the guitar player. Before I carry on, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next lessons. And if you like this style, check out my new book all about soul rhythm guitar. It's available from Amazon worldwide. Check out the link in the box below. Okay, at the end of this next sequence, we're going to just see a slight change from the G major chord to the G sus chord. Remember, so much of this style is being able to change the color in the chord. And in this case, we do it by simply changing one note. The major third in the G major chord, which is the B, just becomes a C to give us that G sus4, a really common sound and one that you really need to be familiar with. Also, notice how many of these chords are just played on either 4 strings, strings 4, 3, 2, and 1, or even 3 strings. We're thinning the sound out, getting out of the way of the piano, the bass, and the strings, so your parts are always clean and not clashing with the other registers. And finally, these guys had a seemingly endless supply of ways to end a song. Typically, when you're ending a song, you'll use a simple melodic embellishment on the 1 chord. And that's what I'm doing in the last couple of bars here. I'm just playing a C major 7 with a lick, which then moves down to the final C major chord 7 shape down here. Remember, it's all about shifting register. Let's take a look at it slowly. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really hope you've enjoyed that. And as always, if you've got any questions, just leave them down below for me. This is such a great style to explore no matter what kind of guitar you already play. You're going to increase your chord vocabulary. You'll start to think about how to connect chords with all these really sweet melodic ideas. And really importantly, you're going to learn about register and how to stay out of the way of all the other instruments. I'll be back with more videos for you very soon, so hit subscribe so you don't miss out. Until then, here's the backing track to keep you busy. I'll see you soon. Take care.